So,
Right?
yeah. Okay.
Do you start with a cheers?
So, yeah, we do start with the
I
cheers.
love it. I love that you have a way of starting.
I know, we just started. We start and end with the cheers, which is nice. So, here we are.
Cheers.
Dominique Gerrard of our parish. So last week we had Sister Nikki,
My amazing sister.
her amazing sister, who came in. So we've got like it's a double bill. It's marvellous, isn't it? We've got the Gerrard sisters.
The Gerrard sisters.
I know. And you're here. Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
I think you're an important person in this town.
Oh.
No. And I know for lots of different reasons. So there's 4 branches to this that we're going to discuss today. So the Vital Youth Theatre, which is Dominique's bebe. I was going to say, but how do you say that? Hastings Meisner, which we'll discuss. The America Ground, which she's very much involved in, and the Actors Lounge. So, darling.
Where should we start?
Where should we start?
Which one? Throw them all in the air and...
So what is your provenance? What's your...
Oh, gosh, what is my provenance? Well, Nikki and I both, but our parents were in amateur theatre, and so we grew up in the theatre, for which I will be eternally grateful, because I caught the bug really early and it's just never gone away. So, those experiences of just, standing in the wings, waiting to go on, and the feeling of working collaboratively in a rehearsal room, being little, watching all the adults kind of doing exciting things and being part of it. I played Astyanax in Trojan Women, who's the boy who's thrown from a roof or battlements or something, I can't now remember, and is carried in dead on a shield and is over by some kind of grande dame of theatre. And I remember being, I don't know, I was about 9 or 10, lying with like putty and fake blood on my face, lying on the shield with my eyes open, looking up at this actress. And there's just the thrill of that, so theatre's always been in my blood, and and then I went on to do a lot of youth theatre myself, so I'm very passionate about youth theatre, because I think, it's certainly a place where I found my place. I found all the other weirdos, and went, okay, for all the places that I don't fit in the world, I definitely fit in here. Yeah. And so, I had such positive experiences with youth theatre, ended up going to the Edinburgh Festival with youth theatre and winning Fringe First Awards and things like that. Then went to uni and did English and drama. Then after that went to drama school and did a year postgrad at drama school and pursued an acting career for about 7.5 years. I usually phrase it as I bashed my head against an acting career.
That's great.
Because I love acting and I love actors. I didn't love the industry from the point of view of acting. I don't love promoting myself. I didn't love promoting myself as an actor, and I think as a young woman, my self-esteem was far too tied up with my identity as an actor, and that was just a bit too painful. Loved the work, just didn't like what I had to do to get to do the work. And then I had been teaching youth theatre. I'd started teaching and doing drama facilitation. And then I started directing youth productions and went, ooh, I like directing. There's something about that. I think I've got kind of a broad overview, kind of, not necessarily big vision, but like I can see, I think because I spent so long in theatre, it's like a sense of not just what am I doing, but that would work over there, and if that's going on with them, then it's storytelling.
Yeah, it is.
And as an actor, there is an element of it that's storytelling, but you can only be on your track.
Yeah, sure.
And interestingly, since I've been a director, I've gone back and done bits of acting and just spent the whole time going, I mustn't tell other people what to do.
Yes, that would be better if.
Yeah, and so I think that's affirmed to me that, over time, I stopped doing so much acting, and then I kind of really stopped acting, and now I work as a theatre director, which I love, and I teach acting, and running a youth theatre then gives me a chance to create that environment that was so valuable to me for young people. I also get so much from working with young people. It's so much a two-way conversation.
And this is why you started Vital?
Yeah, well, I actually took over. It was Windmill Young Actors that had been set up by somebody else, It's sort of split off from what is now Third Space Theatre in Brighton. But they were a branch. And geographically there was a bit of a faraway branch. So I just started teaching when I came to the town about 8 years ago. I started teaching for Windmill young actors, and then it eventually became something that just wasn't really viable for them to continue to teach because it was just a bit far away. So I took it over under my own wing and renamed it because I have a theatre company, which again I'm trying to sort of do a little bit more with, called Vital Theatre. And so I called it Vital Youth Theatre with a view to kind of pulling that together. And my long-term aim for it is that those two kind of grow together. Nice. And so I've got a junior group and a senior group, and they're amazing young people. And and I try and make it really youth-led. So they're smaller groups, which is great. And I don't want to expand it too much. It's about really giving those young people that come a chance to say what it is that they want to do and what they don't get to do anywhere else, the kind of drama that they do in school, which serves its purpose and has a place, but might be a bit more prescriptive. And the curriculum, don't get me started on the drama curriculum. No. It's great that there's drama in schools. I wouldn't have it any other way, but I don't love necessarily what's on that curriculum.
Oh, sure.
But, you know, I think giving young people a chance to have a say in what it is they want to do and how they want to do it, and tell their own stories, and
allow them to be creative.
Yeah, push at the edges of, you know, of all of their stuff. So I'm there to facilitate their vision.
How lovely.
It's not about me.
So you hold the space for them to be their creative self in its entirety.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
And to experiment.
What freedom.
Yeah. And
for you as well, not just for them.
Oh, I learned.
Because you'll be learning. Yeah.
So much. I'm an active participant. They do things and I'm like, oh, yeah, great, thanks for that. I mean, I'll try not to go away, scribble it down and make it my own. But no, it's
you share theirs.
Absolutely, but I think also that's what empowers them, is seeing an adult in their environment be like, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. Yeah. That's quite a special thing to be able to do.
Because they are teaching us, aren't they? The next generations are constantly teaching us all the time. Because we always think as the adults, we are the teachers. Yeah. What a foolish thing that is. They are the teachers, we are the learners.
Yeah, and with adults, in any teaching situation, you know, the idea that it's one way is just not accurate. But the position that you hold is an important one because it creates space. You hold the stuff that needs to be held. When things fall apart, you go, it's okay. And if I need to go, that was my fault, then I can do that, and that's important. And actually, there's a lot of crossover there with directing as well. You can be the person in the room that takes the fall, that takes the hit, so that
that's a lot of humility.
Yeah, which is very good for my ego.
It's good for everyone's ego, isn't it? Actually, my humility says I dropped the ball.
Yeah,
and it's okay, and everyone goes, I can trust you.
Yeah.
And isn't that lovely?
Yeah, and also, I want to live in a culture where there's more of that. So when you model that for other people, you also show that it's okay, and you don't lose your status. No. You don't lose your respectability. You don't lose any kudos by going, you know what, never mind.
Never mind.
Let's brush over that.
Yeah, exactly. We've tweaked that up. You know, and I think it's a really good foundation for civil society, isn't it, really?
Yeah. We need more of that.
We do. So where is the Vital Youth Theatre? Where is it and when is it?
So we run classes at the Greek Orthodox Church Hall, St Mary Magdalene's, isn't it? In St Leonard's, just off Warrior Square. So Saturday mornings 10 till 12 is the junior group, and that's for 8 to 12-year-olds. And the senior group is Tuesdays 5 till 7, and that's for 12 to 18-year-olds. Nice. And we've got a girl who's it's her last term with us this term. She's going off to uni, and we have 12-year-olds, so that's a really nice age range as well. They get a lot out of working with each other across that age range.
And they'll always remember it.
Yeah, well, I did, so I hope that they will. Yeah.
It's great for confidence, though, isn't it?
Oh, huge.
And mingling and being in social situations,
Yeah.
it's massively good for
It's so transferable. I always say, I know someone that says they think that drama should be, like national service.
Absolutely.
It's
agree.
whether you want to be a performer or not. I think it's irrelevant because the skills are so transferable. It's so much, the communication skills, just giving yourself permission to be seen. I mean,
Absolutely.
we talk about this with Meisner.
We do.
Just to be seen and heard
Absolutely.
is like really profound and can be a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And isn't it like the number one fear is
Yes.
public speaking,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
And so having any kind of skills when it comes to that, and collaboration and
exactly.
planning
Teams and taking turns, all the basic things that I used to work with youth for a very long time, and one of the big things that they couldn't manage was being in social situations and taking turns and not feeling that they were being got at when somebody would speak and they'd say, but I'm talking, and you go, I know, so what do you want to say? And then it's like, can you find a way of making this happen so you're not actually fighting, that you're just saying, oh, this is just backwards and forwards dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's not something that is, if they don't see it at home, or they don't see it in school because it's didactic, it's this is how you do it, and this is what I want from you, and now you go away. But any sort of drama, I think, is really good for you.
Group dynamics and recognising that those things are, and your role is in a state of flux. So at points you might be leading, and then at other points you might need to take a back seat, or
Absolutely.
And what actually
it's
what
not
serves the
competition.
whole.
There's no winner.
No. Oh gosh.
It's so vital though, isn't it?
I don't really get, which is why I called it vital.
Yeah.
Thank you for reflecting that back.
Absolutely.
I've never really got competition. I mean, that's not to say I'm not a competitive person. I think I'm a striver.
Sure.
But from the point of like right and wrong and winner and loser, I've never really got that. Like I don't get competitive sport.
No.
I watch it and I'm like, okay, I don't care who wins.
No.
Like it's never made any, and I don't really get that. And I think because what I do is it lives in a world of like there is no right and wrong.
No.
And I work with adult actors a lot with the Actors Lounge, and I have people say to me a lot, but I got that wrong, or I want to get it right, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's have a conversation about what right and wrong means in relation to this.
Absolutely.
Because they're not words that really make any sense to me.
And they all work in different contexts, in different environments and situations. There is no wrong, it's just maybe that's not what we want today.
Yeah.
And or have a think about it, and is that what you want today? Yeah, okay, we'll roll with that.
Yeah, what's your internal barometer
yours?
telling you? And if your barometer's going, oh, this doesn't feel like it could be, that's a different conversation.
Absolutely.
But right and wrong implies that there's some kind of book out there that goes, this is the correct way
and
to do
there's
this.
a judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the one in here, which is
the
loud.
biggest judge. Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
But no one else is judging. So you beautifully said,
Segue.
I know the segues, they're just
I wish I could claim they were intentional, they're not.
they're not, they never are, because we don't script this, so it's just how it works. But this is good conversation, as we say. So Meisner.
Yes.
So, yes.
Well, you talk a bit about Meisner, because you've done a lot of my Meisner sessions.
I've been a partaker of Meisner, which is really hard for me to describe, because you technically would be able to describe it. So because I knew Danny. Danny? No, that's Danny. That's over
Danny.
there.
Danny does Meisner as well. That's
right.
why. That's why she came in your head.
Of course, because it was like, oh, you'd love it. That was a terrible accent.
Brilliant.
But she will come on as a guest at some point. You can hear her speak. But yes, because so go to Meisner. You'll really enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to go to Meisner. So I pitched in. I knew nothing about Meisner. I'd done no homework on it. And I walked in a group of people. Some jobbing actors, some youth actors, some just went along just to enjoy it. I came home, didn't I? And I said to you, that was very, very exciting. And then I went away and started to read about it, because I found it was utterly thrilling to be in a Meisner group. So technically you're going to describe it, but as a human who just goes, I say just goes, it's a really interesting experience, because I'm a frustrated actor. I perform generally, when I speak, people all say, "Well, you should do the stage and stuff," and I say, "No, I just do it anyway." But the whole point of going to Meisner is it's a bit like therapy, but it isn't, if you like. A bit like when Nikki said last week about when you go and have singing lessons. It is therapeutic. It gets an awful lot done because the whole point of this sort of stuff is you're expressing, and it's an outlet for expression. So I could feel my inner judges going, no, oh, what if you mess it up? And then it was like, what if I just let those pop out of the top of my head? And I just got involved in the experience of Meisner, which is repetition. So the basic Meisner is repetition. So it will be, you're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling. You raised your eyebrow.
I raised my eyebrow.
You raised your eyebrow.
I raised my eyebrow.
Did you?
I didn't know we were going to do a demonstration.
No, I didn't either, but it just felt, it just felt really natural to describe it. And that is the essence of this. But so much comes up in the dialogue that happens between two people when they're just observing
and
going
responding.
on and responding.
Yeah.
And I can see why. I did act when I was 15. I did drama and theatre arts at O-level, and so we did Pygmalion. We did we did Pygmalion. We didn't do My Fair Lady. So I did a bit then, and I've always loved theatre. I've always loved film. So when you watch somebody do something well, there's a relationship actually happening. When you watch two actors and they're doing something well and you're invested, you get drawn in. A bit like when we were talking earlier about the DFL play that the Hastings Theatre project put on. You feel drawn into it. And I have to make myself very aware that I'm actually standing or sitting in a theatre. I'm sitting with my husband or whoever I'm with, and I'm actually watching a performance because I can feel myself get sucked into the play. And that tells me that it's very, very good. Because everything else disappears. Yeah, I'm totally suspended. I've no idea where I am. And when I watched people doing the Meisner and getting involved in the Meisner process, which I highly recommend, just for the fun. It's so much fun.
It's quite addictive.
And it is really addictive. And then you go on to other things. You get a knock on the door and you do other things, and they're like, ooh, they're more involved. But the whole point I felt of it was I felt that I'd opened my funnel at the top, and anything that was sort of stuck here was pushed out, and I was expressing myself.
Free.
It felt very freeing. It felt very bonding. It felt enormous fun.
Yeah. Hilarious
in parts.
Yeah.
You can really have fun with it. But you can also get stuck in kind of moments of personal awareness. Yeah. And then you push them out.
Well, I think that's the purpose of any training, is to have the experience that the obstacle that gets in the way, and then to use the technique to overcome that obstacle.
Beautifully put.
So the key principle behind the Meisner technique is that what happens to you as an actor doesn't depend on you. It depends on what the other person does to you.
Absolutely.
What the other person makes you do.
Yes.
So it's observing and responding. Sometimes he called it the pinch and the ouch.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm going to come into an exercise, a repetition exercise with you. I don't have an agenda.
No,
I don't have something that I want to make happen. I'm just going to come in, I'm going to observe you, and I'm going to respond to you. And the repetition exercise sort of is like a gym, if you like, for training us to put our attention fully on the other person, which it sounds simple, but in and of itself is a lot, because we don't often sit opposite another person
or look them in the eye.
Look them in the eye for a prolonged set of moments.
Absolutely.
And see what it is that's going to happen with no idea of our own of what's going to happen. Like that's scary biscuits, right? It's
because we'll look everywhere but.
Right. Yeah. And we like to know, I always say the reason I resonated with this work so much when I first trained in it with Scott Williams at the Impulse Company. I'm somebody for whom control is quite a very comforting thing, right? I know what I'm going to say. I know, I want to feel like I've got a handle on the situation. But we're encouraged to go in and just see what happens.
Yes.
Another big thing that is said is that I really love is you don't do the exercise does you.
It certainly does.
We don't know what's going to happen. We go in, we plug in with the other person, and then we just see what happens.
Yeah.
And that set of things might be really small.
Yeah.
I don't love the word small, but it might be, not particularly interesting or perceptible to other people.
Oh, yeah.
But we also don't need to worry about that. It's not our job to be interesting. It's just our job to be present, to observe, to respond. And then what happens as we go along is that our ability to respond fully and truthfully to that other person's behaviour, that expands.
Yes.
And so then our ability to be impulsive expands. Yeah. So the other big thing about this is that we've spent a lifetime learning to suppress our impulses, most of us, to varying degrees, right? And we might describe somebody personality-wise as being quite an impulsive person and someone as being not so impulsive. But we've all been socialised, right? We don't go around biting people and throwing food in people's faces, like most of the time.
Absolutely.
Because we need to be socialised in order to not be arrested. And so... we have all, to some extent or another, suppressed our ability to just let impulses out.
Absolutely.
And so then what happens is that we're sat opposite somebody, we have a response internally, but we also then have a set of mechanisms that go, no, don't respond like that, because it's not polite, socially acceptable, etc., etc.
Sure.
And so, but as actors, that holds us back, because... plays are not about people sitting having a nice cup of tea and nothing particularly happening. No. Films are not about that. We wouldn't go and watch them.
It would be tedious.
Arguably, it would be pretty boring. Yeah. They're about extraordinary circumstances and people put in situations that are, fascinating for us to experience because then we get a cathartic experience as an audience. And so we want as actors to be able to access whatever impulses come out. That doesn't mean we're going to reach for, you're going to look at me funny and I'm suddenly going to throw my toys out of the... that might be a disproportionate response. It may not be, but it probably is going to be. But as we go along, we want to be able to have a really full response, to let things matter. Yeah. And so what we're doing is sort of putting down that social armour, bit by bit by bit by bit. And what happens through the repetition exercise is as we sort of knock off that armour as we go along, is that people can have really extraordinary experiences that they don't even really know why.
Absolutely.
So you can get to the end of an exercise and one person can be enraged and the other person can be in tears, and you come out and you're like, I don't really know what happened or why that happened.
Absolutely.
But through the power of that structured exercise, what it allows us is to have a really full experience, but not one that we dreamed up in our own heads, not one that we manipulated ourselves or other people to get to, but one that just emerged really organically, that is truthful. Yeah. And so it kind of deals with this kind of weird irony of, we talk about acting as being living truthfully under a given set of circumstances. That's how Sanford Meisner defined acting. But it's not true. If you're playing a part in a play and you've got lines and you're pretending to be someone else and you're pretending it's a different year and a different country or whatever, maybe, that's not true in that it's not the actual reality that I'm living in. But how can I allow those imaginary circumstances to be there? Yeah. And within that, I'm going to be truthful within those circumstances. So it's a bit of a dichotomy of like, it's not true and true, but how can we find that truthfulness? Because we know as audience members, honestly, I've got hours on this. This is my last point on this.
No, it's great.
But as audience members, the bottom line is we know when we're watching something that isn't truthful.
Sure.
We disconnect, even if we don't think it.
That's it, isn't it?
Something in our heart goes,
Yeah.
And we disconnect. We sit back. We check our watch.
Yeah.
We go, I'm a bit thirsty.
Yeah,
or
no, totally. And that's the thing, isn't it? The immersion versus the I'm not really getting, because then they're going through the process of acting, if you like. They're not
pretending effectively.
They're pretending, yeah. And you think, well, what's the point of that? Because I don't trust that. I really don't trust that. I find that really difficult to relate to.
And most of those actors, you know, they're doing their best. It's not that they're going, I know, I'll manipulate the audience like this. But what we do as actors is that we start to be able to tell what's truthful and what's less truthful, and we start to go, oh, okay, what is it that pulled me out of truthfulness there and made me start to pretend?
Yes.
And so then what we can do as actors is start to go, okay, how can I get out of my own way when it comes to feeling like and often it's an internal pressure of, oh gosh, I'm meant to be doing. It's that thing of doing it right again,
exactly.
rather than going, no, deal with what's actually. So it's a lot about being present. What's actually happening in this moment, and how can I respond to that truthfully?
Sure. It is, and I think that makes us better humans as well. I think we're much better when we trust ourselves, and we're not so focused on what we should be doing, but what we actually feel we are doing. Yeah. How do I feel right now? What's my authenticity? Yeah. And that's what I've learned about the Meisner is very much, I just go there, because there was a moment where I actually said, I can't do this, I want to stop. And there was something coming up for me that was very much, no, stop now. And I listened to the call, and I just stopped, and there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong. It was just like, no. And it felt like it was the right time to just put up a boundary and just say, no, I just need to butt out now. Yeah. The poor young woman, she went, was it something I did? I went, no, it had nothing to do with you, but bless you.
Yeah.
It's and I want you to know that. I said it was just a moment for me. And that is tapping into something about, you know, what I matter right now, and I'm saying no to whatever that is. Yeah.
It's acting is such an individual learning process. We can do it together, but the learning and the progress happens internally.
Yeah.
And I also am a big proponent of the stronger an actor can be internally, the better. And certainly if people are wanting to go into the profession or wanting to continue in a career, it is about being strong. And as somebody who had a bit of a career and then stepped back from it, I know that I probably wasn't quite strong internally enough.
Yeah.
And I think there is a resilience, and it's always that you know that the duality of, you need to be somebody who has a sensitivity, and somebody who has and it doesn't have to be, you know, armour, but it does need to be an inner resilience.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, where is and when is Meisner?
So Hastings Meisner, currently we're running once a month, first Sunday of every month, 10 till 12:30 at the Greek Orthodox Church. Yeah. It's my venue. Well, it's not my venue, but I use it a lot.
But it's a favourite venue, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice and accessible.
Yeah, sure.
We've got a kitchen so we can make coffees and teas.
Yes, and bring layers. In the winter it gets very cold, but we manage, and we get excited by the actual.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot about yourself. And you're an incredibly good tutor,
thank you,
teacher, leader, all of those, facilitator. I think you do really good work.
Thank you.
So and you love it. You can hear it.
I love it. You know what? I actually had a little voice in my head going, am I being too loud for the camera?
No.
I'm probably being too loud because I get really excited.
Yeah, no, not at all. We've had some extremely loud people here.
Oh,
You're
good.
Nothing like that.
Good.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So something that I got very excited about you doing, and when we went along, and oh my word, I've not had so much fun and cried and shouted and felt so involved in as the America Ground.
America Ground the musical.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so script by John Knowles, music by Bob Tipler. We had it on last summer at the Observer Building, which was a baptism of fire for us and them, I think.
Absolutely.
It was amazing to be able to work in that space.
And you directed.
I directed it, thank you. You forget what you haven't said. It was a venue that has not had theatre in it before, and we figured out a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Provided some challenges, but Yeah, it was. It's such a sort of an interesting piece. It's about the history of the America ground, and the what happened with the storm changing the landscape of the shore, and then what happened with people sort of claiming the land and having it for free, not paying rents, and then other people coming in and trying to manipulate it to their own ends. And it's very much an allegory, so it's historical, and it's got sort of intentionally anachronistic elements to it,
Sure.
where it's drawing parallels with the housing crisis happening today, and manipulations of power, and so it's it's a really relevant piece. It's great songs by Bob, and a fantastic story, a set of stories really. There's a few different threads that go through it. And we had a community ensemble and a set of professional actors working together, which was a real pleasure. It was a huge project. It was a bit of a to get to the last minute, and it's always a risk. You put things in front of audiences and you're like, does it work? And the audience response was just extraordinary.
It was phenomenal.
And I think what we really felt was how much people went, this is our town, and it's our town story, and it was put together in a way that really felt Hastings-esque.
Yeah.
And was even the scrabbly bits around the edges were sort of very Hastings-esque.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it had that energy, and we were delighted with how it landed. There were plans to do it this year, and they've been pushed into next year. Okay. So it is definitely going ahead in 2026.
I'm so excited.
I don't know how much I can say about that, and I didn't have a conversation with John Knowles before I came, so I'm just going to leave it there. But it is definitely happening in 2026.
That's so good.
But we've got a fundraiser this summer. Mike's venue, which you're going to remind me of the name of.
Oh, the Henry Ward Hall.
Henry Ward Hall. I think I can say 11th of July. We wanted to do Independence Day, American Independence Day, 4th of July.
Yeah.
But for various practical reasons it didn't work. So 11th of July at Henry Ward Hall, there's going to be a fundraiser, a concert that will include songs from the show and various other local musicians and people. That was an excited squeal.
Yes, I'm so excited. It was. I can't describe how much fun we had that night. How much? No, I say I cried. I was furious. I was. They cover everything. It's very, very clever writing, and the songs totally represent the writing. It's like those guys have been working together forever.
Yeah.
It was very, very strange the way that all came together.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it is, if you feel anything for this town, that musical covers your feelings. And as soon as it was over, I went straight over and I grabbed John Knowles and I said, and I think you were there, and I said, this needs a bigger venue. Everybody needs to see it. Because it's not it's very funny in parts.
Yeah.
It really takes the Mickey out of the town, respectfully.
Yeah, yeah.
And it does everything with really good grace. But the tone they got absolutely right, because if anyone starts taking pops in my town, I can get very defensive. I feel like don't. But it didn't. It was very healthy. It was very transparent. It was very honest. It was a lot of humility in there, a lot of courage. I loved it. The whole thing was just beautifully done. And when I gush over something, I absolutely mean it. But I went over to both of you, didn't I? I said, needs a bigger venue. Everyone needs to see it. When is it coming back out? It needs. Everybody needs to see it, because it's definitely deserving of a bigger venue, but it's also deserving of more attention, and not just for the townsfolk, but for others in the trade. it's a really good work of art.
Thank you. And we have talked quite a lot about what to do with it, and the tricky thing in terms of taking it elsewhere is it is about Hastings, and it is so Hastings specific. We've talked a little bit about, whether it is a sort of a coastal town issue that could be discussed. It could be taken to other, and it's still set in Hastings.
Absolutely, but we've got a whole coastline, haven't we?
Yeah. And we're hoping that it will become a sort of yearly fixture of something that that stays, and maybe maybe the story grows with as time goes on as well.
Yeah.
But I think there's something about when a collaboration works.
Yes.
It really works, and
yeah.
I felt that kind of synthesis of those elements coming together and going, this really, because John and I have collaborated on other things before, and then there was something about this material when he played me the songs and I read the script. It was like, there's something that really sings about this. So I'm very glad to be involved and continue to be involved. So we're watch out for the fundraiser, which will help us to put it onto and gain an even bigger audience next year.
Absolutely. Well, the fundraiser, that would be a great event. So come to that, because you get an awful lot from it, but you'll be putting something back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so important. There are so many people in town who have got this thirst for providing something creative and lovely and a really good day or evening out, but it does need supporting. It does need supporting.
Theatre is, I think a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate that theatre is expensive to put on, and not because anyone's lining their pockets, but just because there are so many component parts.
There are,
and it's across the country woefully underfunded. I mean, it's virtually impossible to get money to put theatre on, and so to quote a well-known phrase, every little helps when it comes to supporting theatre to happen. Even if that's buying a ticket in advance or putting an extra tenner in the pot, or it makes a big difference, because it is, cuts have to be made left, right and centre if even when something's funded.
Sure.
It's amazing.
No, I'm so, that makes my heart sing. To know that's, I'm so happy about that, because it's kind of a theatrical sweet spot for me. It really did hit every sort of...
And it's a musical for people that don't like musicals as well. It's very much not a...
It's not that
kind of musical.
It
not
really
to denigrate those, but it's 42nd Street. It ain't.
It ain't. No,
it's,
absolutely.
It's very much. I mean, there's shanty-esque songs in it, and there's some really heartful songs that it's a very unconventional musical. It's a play with songs.
It's like a non-musical musical, if you like. It could be America Around the non-musical, because it flies in the face of a lot of...
That's a long strap line.
But if you like a song, the lyrics are absolute chef's kiss, but the whole thing, I think the whole thing, collaboration was really, really, and I'm so glad we got tickets. It was one of those moments. It was like, we really should get tickets for this. We really should get, and we were put up against it. It was like, we might have to just give these away. No, I'm so the standing ovation went on and on and on, didn't it? So we're not gushing because of something or because we know these people. It is top quality, absolutely top quality. Hastings at its best. Thank you for bringing it. Thank you for bringing it. So you also have another string to your bow.
Many strings.
Related, of course, slightly off the ground, but not nonetheless very important. The Actors Lounge.
Yeah, so the Actors Lounge is a drama school that opened in Canterbury about 4 years ago, and Eastbourne was the first sort of offshoot school. And now we have 10 schools across the country. So we were Eastbourne was like the experiment to see whether it would work. So Abigail Boyd, who opened it in Canterbury, it sort of opened around her, and then she was like, I think this is something that could spread. And the unique thing about it, and I will be brief about this, is that it's It offers 10-week evening courses, so once a week, 2.5 hours for adults, so anyone 18 plus, who want to do acting, and it is also open to everybody from people who just want to dabble or have a bit of fun, or people who used to act when they were a kid and haven't gone back to it, and also people who are on actually I'd really like to do this as a career, but of any age, younger or older. And so it's quite a unique offering, and there was certainly a gap in the market, I think, when it came to sort of something of that sort of rigour and really kind of taking the training seriously, but also accessible and as affordable as we can possibly make it. And there was a lot of discussion about whether to open it in Eastbourne or Hastings, and there's still been discussion since about whether there could be a Hastings school, and maybe in the future. The tricky thing is, because it's the only one sort of along the coast, is that it being in Eastbourne means it's more accessible for Brighton.
Yeah,
and so and we do have a fair few Hastings students, currently not quite enough to justify a Hastings school, but watch this space. But yeah, so I came on as a tutor, and I'm core tutor for a number of the courses that run there now, and subsequently I've become curriculum lead and tutor support across all the schools.
Wow.
So I help put the curricula together, make sure that all of those lesson plans really work, put resources together, and support tutors across from Northampton to Bristol to Oxford to Reading to Colchester to Norwich, which is great. And so I wanted to give it a bit of a shout out.
Absolutely.
And it is quite a unique offering for people, as I say, because it's so broad. But there's something about the diversity of those groups as well that really means that everybody like we were saying earlier on, is everybody gets to learn together.
Yes.
There's diversity of ages, there's diversity of reasons to be in the room.
Yeah.
And that, I think, there can be a bit of a sense of, there's beginners acting, and then there's, I'm more advanced, and I want to do it for different reasons, so I should be in a different group. But in my experience, everybody learns so much from each other.
Sure.
Because there's something about coming at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
That can be so refreshing for somebody who is really kind of career oriented, and it's like, actually there's a great deal of freedom in not having an outcome attached to it. And then for people who are just doing it as a hobby, but you see people who are career oriented, you're like, I get it, I get to see that from a different point of view. That variety of ages, we've got everything from 18 to 80 in the potential for that in a group. And that's huge. I mean, most drama schools don't have that. You've got mostly sort of 18 to early 20s. And then everybody's got to kind of wear a wig or draw lines on their face when it comes to playing older parts.
Sure.
Being a bit glib. But, actually there's a huge amount of cross-learning and benefit that happens because of that. So I go over to Eastbourne a few times a week to teach that, and absolutely love it. So it'd be great if more people in Hastings know that it's there as a resource.
So when is it on, or where?
So I think it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We run different courses of different levels.
Sure.
So 7 till 9:30 at the Venton Centre, which is the Age Concern building, about a 3-minute walk from Eastbourne Station.
Is it going left as you come out the station?
You come out the station and you go left. Left. Round the back of the Beacon shopping centre.
I will put all the links up for that. Yeah, it's great.
You mean you have to leave our town?
I know. Get on a train.
We do go out of town often.
But what I would say is, the more people who are based in and around Hastings who come, the stronger my argument is back to HQ to go, there's now enough students for a Hastings school. So let's fly the Hastings flag.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Oh.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk about that. I know it's not technically our town.
No, but it is. We're adjacent, and I think it's really important. There's lots of good things going on in Eastbourne and Brighton, and Rye, all the way along, and up country. If I decided I was going to go
inland,
I know north.
Inland.
Why would you do that? What is it Mike said this morning? He said, I think that this town is full of people that have just run out of places to go, and they're just all here. And I could
We got to the sea and went, I can't walk any further.
That's it. I've done all that. I'm here now. So it's really sweet. You've been a wonderfully illuminating, enthusiastic, and wholesome guest, my darling. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very much.
I'm going to do my Gen X heart. I can't do these young hearts.
Is there another one?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I'm probably not even doing it right.
And yet there's people out there that can't do this.
Careful.
Yeah.
What?
He's going to throw out gang signs.
Oh no, I think that
East Side, West Side.
that's the newest heart. It's just a little cross.
Oh, it's this.
Yeah.
It's a bit like when I see people at poetry meetings now. They go, and it's like, oh wow. Actually, there were women behind us at the where was I in London?
Right, where was she in London?
The Empire, Hackney Empire, and there was a wonderful poet called Poetess Jess, and she came on and she said, so you know what to do, everybody? You know, and she's looking, she says, my people, you don't clap, you do this, like this, and they went, oh, okay. And it was beautiful, it was really funny. Yeah. And there was a woman behind, and she was, a woman of my age, I think, and she was brapping, and she was... And I just looked around, I said, are you brapping? She went, shouldn't I? I said, no, darling, I'm just loving the fact that you're brapping. And she said, oh, okay. And we were all, and of course, there were squeals of laughter after that. You couldn't stop her laughing.
Brilliant.
But, yes, but this has been absolutely splendid.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to cheers each other out.
With my empty glass.
Oh, yeah, don't drink for it because it's bad luck.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah, says she, starting some sort of notoriously weird... What are they? Suspicion. Stop it, Patsy. Superstition. That's it. Thank you.
To quote The Office, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
A little stitious.
I have to thank Steve Carell for that one.
I know. I love Steve Carell. Now we could go down this rabbit hole forever.
Yeah, let's not.
Actors we've known and loved. So thank you, darling, and good luck with everything. And we will see you soon because we'll definitely see you at the fundraiser.
Yeah.
And we will see. Yes. Watch this space. Yay! Thank you. Thank you, Dominique.
Perfect.
It's been a pleasure.